I have now started recording, Rachel. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I am Rachel Denbo, and I am on Instagram under Smile and Wave if you want to follow along or are not already following along. And welcome to class today. This is the project that we are going to be working on. It is a soft cover, and we are working today with Michael's Stores and Fiskars. And I'm going to be talking to you about some of my favorite tools from Fiskars and go over some new things that I've been using lately. So Holly is also here. You met Kelly earlier. Holly is here from Fiskars and she is in the chat. So if you have any questions along the way, feel free to ask about the tools. She can answer that right away if I'm still focused on another part of the project. But she will be monitoring the chat. So if she pops in there and you see Holly and you're like, who's this? That's who that is. So welcome today. I know a few people are still showing up. I see one familiar face. Hi, Bethany Iverson. Anyways, welcome today. Okay, so I've done a Zoom class before, but this is my first really big one. So I'm going to do my best. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. There is also a blog post that I share everything in that Holly will send you a link to. So everything we discuss today, you can find in a written photographed format if you feel like today is going too fast. So you don't have to be sewing along right now. You can just be watching. If you do feel like you want to sew along right now, that's great too. But all the links will be in the blog post, and this is going to be on the YouTube channel. Also, all of that will be in the chat notes later. So if you don't catch something, never fear. So tablets, laptops, we have a lot of those around here lately. I have 3 kiddos and all 3 brought tablets home for virtual school last year. And I was carrying mine to meetings downtown. And I just thought I need something that's cute to hold this in while I'm traveling so it doesn't get smeared in my purse with like, maybe I had some chocolate in there and it came unwrapped, or maybe lipstick came undone, or pen scratching. So that's the purpose behind making these. This is the laptop case that I made. You can see it's a little bit bigger. This is, we have an iPad that's, I think, an 8th generation. So I have this size. And then we also have an older mini iPad. So I have these in like 3 different sizes here. So you can see that these work well to customize up or down depending on what you have. And I'm going to show you in a little bit how to decide how much fabric you need for your specific one. But first of all, I'm going to go over the fabrics that we're going to be using. These are all quilting cottons. And if you want to use a canvas or like a duck cloth, you can do that. It'll make the outside part a little bit maybe sturdier. These are not meant to be like hard cases. They're meant to be something that is going to be slipping into your bag or into your suitcase to protect the cover. If you do keep a hard case on your tablet all the time, that's great. You can make this a little bit bigger to fit the tablet with the hard case on it. So let's see. I bought these fabrics at Michael's and they are so happy and cheerful. This one, these are just quilting cottons. So if you have quilting cotton handy, that's great. I have an inner and an outer. This one is going to be my fabric A. This is going to be my fabric B. So you have those 2. You are also going to want to have some low loft cotton batting. So I'm going to show you, like, this is really thin. It's what you would use if you were quilting. And it's nice and soft, and it just gives a little bit of protection and a little more structure to your tablet case. So we've got 2 different quilting cottons. And then we also have some cotton batting. You're also going to want, where did it go? Some hook and loop. This is Velcro, but hook and loop too. You only need about 5 inches. Unless you're doing a laptop size, then you may want 8 inches. This is the sew-on kind. You may or may not want to use a different kind. I don't really like the iron-on kind as much. I think sew-on is going to be much sturdier for when you're ripping it open and closed. It's just, if it's sewn on, you know it's going to stay. So that's what I have here. And then you're also going to need some straight pins. And you're going to need a sewing machine and your iron and ironing board. Now, as far as tools go, I want to talk to you a little bit about what I'm using, because I don't know how many of you are already fabulous sewists, but if you are not familiar with a cutting board, a self-healing cutting mat, and an acrylic ruler, and a rotary cutter, then your life is about to get a lot easier. So I'm going to switch over real quick to my other camera. Ta-da! Whoa, hold on. We are switching over, but now it has decided to come unplugged, but we're getting there. Hold on just a second. Okay, we're getting there. Let me switch back over. Here we are. Okay, so I've got my self-healing cutting mat. I've also got my acrylic ruler, and I've also got my rotary cutter. Now, when I first started quilting and sewing, I would just like cut out a rectangle, and then I would trace it onto my fabric with a pencil, and then I would use my scissors to cut around the lines. And do you know how long that took me? Way longer than I had time for. So gotten smarter and wiser. I realized it is an investment to, and it's not even a big investment, it's a small investment into your happiness if you get a self-healing cutting mat. The reason you need a rotary cutter instead of a pair of scissors, if you're cutting anything out that is rectangular or square, and some people I know even use them for like rounded surfaces, is because, let's see how handy this is. There's like a button here so it can keep it open. When you're lining things up, you want really precise measurements, and the acrylic ruler paired with the self-healing mat helps you to see the top and bottom of the fabric where it's lined up, and then zoop, you're done, and it just makes life so much faster. So this new tool that I've just recently been working with that Fiskars sent over, it is like magic. I have this one that I purchased that's the same size lengthwise. Well, this one is like cut into thirds and folds up like a puzzle. And it's just so much easier to like stash in my sewing space because it's smaller. This will fit in my sewing box. And it's really easy to still use when it's long, you know, it moves around easily. So if you have a small sewing space too, you might want to check out this ruler because it makes life really nice. Rotary cutters, I have 2 of them. They're both Fiskars. I've used them since I started using them. It's been over 10 years. You can get replaceable blades. If you're left-handed and not right-handed, you can switch it from the right-handed position over to the other side, I believe. And then you can use it the other way. So we love inclusiveness in design. This, you know, the blades are sold anywhere at Michael's. They're really easy to replace, like every few big projects. Anyways, rotary cutters, this one's great. It has a safety on it so that you can lock it in place so that even if you're trying, if your kids get a hold of it accidentally, they're not going to be able to cut themselves if it, you know, the safety's on. So I do really recommend checking this one out. I also have like a more standard Fiskars rotary cutter that doesn't have the ergonomic grip, but I really like both of them. This one because of the safety feature. Another tool that we're using today, when I was cutting out, like I have a big pair of shears that I use to cut out things, but a small pair is always at my table because it's really nice when you're cutting off threads, like after you've stitched a line and you're just like, boop, instead of getting your big shears over, and it's just a little bit quicker. It takes up less space. These are really sharp on the end. So if somebody's getting too close while you're sewing, you can just like jack, just kidding. It's really good for like undoing stitching because I have, and I shared this in the blog post, I have an aversion to stitch rippers. I think I stabbed myself with one once when I was younger, and now they feel threatening. So this pair of scissors is really great if you are like me and you stitch too far on your Velcro and you're like, oh, now I have like a whole edge that's wanting to lift up every time it gets touched. And you need to rip it out and do it closer to your edge. These are perfect because they're so sharp and there's like a micro point, so you can really get under those small stitches. So these are the tools we're going to be using today. Do we have any questions so far, Holly?
Not so far.
Okay, you guys are smarty pants. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on the fabric. Okay, so before we do this, let's take the measurement of your tablet. If your tablet, where did I go? I'm going to go ahead and use my phone here because my tablet has vanished. Thank you, children. I'm going to use my phone. I'm going to show you via the cutting mat. It is roughly 6 inches long and roughly 3 inches wide. So you will get your tablet or your computer, anything you're wanting to make this for, and you're going to mark those down. Mine's going to be 3 inches by 6 inches. Just write it down somewhere. Now my tablet is 7 inches by 10 inches. That's the one that I made this bigger one for. If you want to use, if you have a hard case on your tablet and you're wanting to do that measurement, you don't have to take your tablet out of the hard case. So however you're going to store it, that's what you want to measure. Okay. So I have a little case on here, but it's really not that big. It's about the same. So my measurement is 3 by 6. My tablet size is 7 by 10. Either way, that's your baseline. So then you want to add 1.5 inches to the width. So the width of my phone here is 3 inches. So my new number on my width is going to be 4.5. And then on the length, my length is 6. I want to double my length. So 6 times 2 is 12. Yay, math. And then I'm going to add 5.5 more inches to that measurement. So 12, which is my double measurement, plus 5.5. So now I'm at 17.5. So that would mean my new measurement for my phone would be 4.5 by 17.5. That's enough fabric where it's going to be able to fold over for the pocket and then fold over for the flap. On here, you can see my fabric size for my tablet ended up being 8.5 by 25.5. So this is how you determine how much fabric you need. Okay, so once you've got your fabric number, you're going to want to, if you haven't already done this, the fabric that you're going to use, I always recommend pre-washing and drying and ironing, because this is a soft case that might get dirty. You can throw it in the wash. If yours is not already pre-washed and dried, it's not a deal breaker. But in the future, it's always nice to have that part taken care of. So what I like to do when I bring fabric home from the store, or if I get it online, I throw it in the wash right away and dry it right away. I don't iron it right away because nobody has time to do that. But I like that way it's prepped for when I am ready for my next project, because when inspiration strikes, you gotta go. Okay, so the very first, this is going to be fabric A. This is the one we're going to start out with. You want to find your, if you don't have a straight edge on here already, like I have a selvage edge. The selvage edge is just the natural edge of your fabric, and you can tell it looks a little bit different than the rest of it. You can use that as your straight edge if you would like. Sometimes it can shrink up a little bit. People like to cut that off. This, the print goes all the way to the edge so I can use it. So I'm going to line that up on the edge of my cutting mat. And remember my measurement for my tablet's 7 inches. I'm going to cut 8.5 inches across, and then I'm going to measure 25.5 inches down this way. So I'm going to get out my handy acrylic ruler, unfold it, move my sewing machine over here. If you don't have a cutting mat or an acrylic ruler, you can use a yardstick if you'd like. Just make sure that you have ironed your fabric, because if this is wrinkled, you're not going to get an accurate cutting. An accurate cutting is the deal breaker for projects that end up looking really good when they're finished. So I'm going to line up this edge. Now here at the top, my fabric was cut a little bit crooked and I need it to be really straight. So I am going to pull this down a little bit. And I'm just going to line up the top of my acrylic ruler with the 1 inch mark here, because I can see all the way across how far I need to go up here. I need to get to the 8.5 point. So I'm going to start with my rotary cutter and I'm going to cut across. Since this is only 6 inches wide, then I'm going to have to scoot this over until I get to the 8.5 mark right here. Or another way to do that is just to use it this way. But you want to make sure that the lines on your side here are even with the selvage edge over here of your fabric. Getting everything lined up can be a little bit tricky, but then once you've got it, you're good to go. And I am not left-handed, but I'm going to go ahead and try it this side. I'm going to cut all the way. You can even go past the point that you want. Make sure to keep your fingers out of the way of your rotary cutter when you're holding down your acrylic ruler. Okay, I'm going to just do this right-handed because my left hand is obviously not strong enough to get this done. There we go. Okay, so that was pretty quick and easy. I've got my corner here is square. So now, line it up again, get this corner over to the 8.5 mark. And then I'm going to cut straight down. My ruler only goes to 24 inches. So I'm going to have to scoot everything down a little bit. So then I'm going to hold this down and I'm going to cut all the way down. You can see how quick and sharp these are. And I'm going to scoot everything down here. Now I'm going to use this line I've already cut on the fabric and measure my acrylic ruler up with that. And then cut past it. Okay, so now come back to the top. Measure all the way down to 24, 25.5. Go to 26. Get your measurement here. You can do it anywhere on your mat as long as you're lining up with your acrylic ruler and then lining it up on the mat. I'm going to cut across here. Now I am finished with fabric A. Again, this is my outside. If you do want to make this a little bit quicker, you can always fold your fabric in half and do it lengthwise that way. That can make it a little bit quicker. So go ahead and repeat this with fabric B by getting the same exact measurement. And then you're also going to want to repeat that with your batting. All three of these need to be the same. So let's see. Where did I put my other one? I'm going to do this one really quick. If you're following along, that means we have enough time to keep pace together. So this is my fabric B. And again, I'm going to line up the selvage edge here. This was ironed at some point, but it's still flat enough that it's not going to mess up my cutting lines. Now, if you start off with a crooked edge at the top, that's going to throw off the right angle in your other corner. So it's really important if you are new to sewing to pay extra attention to getting your cuts lined up and straight. And again, I'm going to do this with my left hand. That's 6. I'm going to come over here to 8.5. And I'm lining up right here. Since I can't quite see where the line is, I'm using this right here where I've already cut as my guide. Okay, so I've got my 8.5. I'm going to show you how I just double this up now to make it a little quicker. Might be a little easier to see. So keep that selvage edge straight. Get your wrinkles out. Line it up here. And you can see it's close. To the 8.5 mark. I want to line it up correctly on both ends, on both this part and this part, 8.5. So that was a little bit quicker and you can see the whole thing. So I just unfolded it one end. Now I need to measure out where my 25.5 inches is. Here's 24, 25, 26. Okay, I'm going to fold up my ruler, get that out of the way. Now I have fabric B cut, fabric A cut, and I had already pre-cut my batting. So I have these 3 pieces together. I want to clear off my workspace, get all the extra fabric off. So the next step, we are going to attach our Velcro or hook and loop. And we're going to, and it doesn't matter the size, we are going to, like, from the inside piece, we are going to measure down, sew our Velcro on. See if I can show you the example here. See how this one, the soft Velcro is attached up here at the top, close to the edge. There's no stitching lines on the outside fabric. We are only going to stitch through the inside fabric. And this is because I think it looks nicer on the outside and not have that stitch outline. So that was kind of a design choice. So we're going to just work on the soft part first here, and then we'll attach the sharper hook part at a later step. So whichever fabric you're using for the inside, which is going to be fabric B, that's the one that you want to have out. And you're going to take your Velcro, pull it apart, goodness gracious. Set aside the sharp hooks. You only want the soft part right here. And you are going to measure down 1.5 inches from the top, which should be about here. And you want to line up the top soft edge of your Velcro about 1.5 inches down. And then center it. So if you need to get the yardstick out to measure like 3 inches on each side or 1.5 inches on each side, or you can eyeball it because sometimes that's all you have energy for. But you want it to be mostly centered at least 1.5 inches down. Then you're going to grab some straight pins. And if they match your project, you get extra points. So you're going to push your straight pin down like hold it in place in the middle because you don't have to start over, and push your straight pin down so that you get it pinned on one side, and then pin on the other side. When you're finished with this part, check to make sure that it's even. Okay, so you've got the top Velcro on there, and then we want to stitch this on. So turn your machine on. For the Velcro, I am going to use white thread because it's a white piece of Velcro. You can do a contrasting thread if you prefer. Sometimes it's fun to play with colorful thread. I'm going to bring my machine over here, and then I'm going to switch. But basically, I'll tell you what we're going to do first. You're going to start in the corner, top corner if you want to, and you are going to stitch all along the top row, and then you're going to keep your needle down into your fabric and Velcro, but you're going to pull up on the lever that raises the presser foot. The presser foot is that thing on your machine that looks like the end of the skis. You're going to lift that up, but keep the needle down through the thread and the Velcro. And then you're going to, if the needle's down in there, you're going to use that as a pivot point. And you're going to turn, well, I'm going to do it the other way. You do counterclockwise. You're going to turn it so that then you can sew across this way without messing up your stitch pattern. That keeps it from like cutting the corner. It's not a huge deal, but it will make life easier if you just get into the habit of doing that for your sewing projects. And then we're going to keep turning as you go down. When it bunches up underneath your sewing machine, like you got all this fabric on the side, but there's just a little space in your machine arm. One trick for that is to roll this up. I mean, you can bunch it up and shove it up under there if you want, but I know a lot of quilters are familiar with all the extra fabric. You just want to kind of roll it up like so, and then it will fit into that space in your machine much easier. So then you're going to stitch along this side, turn it, stitch along this side, and then back stitch where you begin and end. So I'm going to stick this under my machine, and then I'm going to switch cameras so that you guys can see from the other angle. Okay. Woo. There we are. Start this way. Start in my corner. My lever is right here. Your lever may be in another spot. This is your presser foot. For those of you that know how to sew, thank you for being patient. We're gonna get through all of the little details. Okay, so back stitch. That means I'm going to go ahead and stitch a few forward. Then I have a knob on the front of my machine. I'm gonna push it down. That's gonna send me backwards. Then I'm gonna go forwards again. And I wanna stitch very close to the edge of the Velcro.
Rachel, we do have a question. They're wondering what kind of stitch you have it set to. And do you need a special type of needle to sew through the Velcro?
I just, if I'm careful, I will take my needle out before I get there. Sometimes the needle will just slide over the straight pin. The needle. I don't think you do for Velcro, but this is just a standard needle. Anything that's going to be for like denim and canvas is going to work really well. You wouldn't use a needle that you're using for silk or something really fine. And if you're using Velcro that you iron on, there might be a sticky back to it, and that stickiness will gunk up on your needle. That was a second reason I wanted to use the sew-on kind, and that can cause some problems. So standard needles will work well for this. As far as your pins go, you can remove your pin right before you get to it, or you can just sew over it, and most of the time it's not a problem. I have had a few times when it just caught right on there and it can bend your needle. So best practices is remove your straight pin before you get to it. And I am going to use the knob that is on the side right here to get my needle in the down position so that it's sticking through the fabric and the Velcro. And then I'm going to lift the presser foot up right here, and I'm going to twist counterclockwise. So it's all lined up, and then put the presser foot down and then sew to the next corner. Get my needle in the down position, presser foot up. And you can see here, I call this the armpit of the machine. I don't know that that's what it's called, but that's what I think in my head. So you can roll up your fabric to move through there more easily. Now the presser foot that I'm using right here has a bar on it to show me where 1/4 inch is from where my needle is. So I have to move it out of the way when my needles, my straight pins are coming. But I don't want to use a 1/4 inch mark on my Velcro because then I'll have big gaps on the edges. Remove that needle, straight pin, sorry. Get to my corner, lift up the presser foot, back down. Then I'm going to back stitch again when I finish. Put the needle up. Okay, so now pull this out, grab some scissors, trim your threads on both sides. You've got your Velcro done. Good job. Okay, we're going to move along a little quicker now. So we've got this done. We're going to line up our, where'd it go? Batting is going to go down. We're going to make a sandwich. Batting goes down first. Going to move the rotary cutter for now. And then the fabric with the Velcro that we just sewed goes down next, and make sure it goes right on top. Line up your edges. If all of your edges are not lined up, it's going to be hard to know how to sew through and make sure you're getting all 3 layers of your fabric. So I'm going to lay that down. Spread it out. Okay, and then we want to get our fabric A. This does not have Velcro on it. Fabric B needs the right side facing up. Fabric A facing down. So the wrong side of the fabric is the sign that's washed out side. The right side is the side with the print. If you're using solids, then it doesn't really matter. But if it has a pattern or a print, you need to make sure that the right sides are facing together. And again, line all of that up. I am going to use my rotary cutter because I have extra down here. And I'm going to eyeball this because I'm going to use the top fabric as my guide. Get all of that out of the way. Okay, so you need to pin these 3 together. We're using some straight pins, and you've got your batting, fabric B, and then fabric A. Put some straight pins through all 3 layers, and you want to do this maybe like every 3 to 4 inches. Go all the way around. When you're quilting, you want to do this. I mean, some people do this with safety pins, or I like to use straight pins, but then they can poke you. When you're doing big projects, you will do like every 3 or 4 inches all across the whole thing. We're just doing around the outer edges.
We do have another question, Rachel.
Yes.
They're asking, once you run, as a beginner sewer, so they have a question, once you run through it, through the machine, can you just snip off the thread, or should you be kind of doing the reverse? If you could explain that so it doesn't come undone.
Yes, so the back stitch helps kind of go back and forth to secure it so it doesn't just pull out and then come undone slowly over time. Some machines will have a little piece on them where you can just use that to put the thread over to cut the thread before you remove it out of your machine. I kind of pull the project away from my needle about 3 inches just to have a little bit of give to get it out from under. And then I have to use my scissors to cut the threads because I don't, for some reason, unless I've never seen it before, my machine doesn't have that piece where you can just hook it over and cut it off. So I hope that is what you're asking. If not, feel free to clarify. Once you have pinned all the way around the edges of your 3 layers, you want to make sure you leave an opening that is at least the width of your hand. So like right here and right here, I kept a little bit of distance between these pins. This is going to be the part we do not sew, because if we sewed all the way around it, we will sew it shut. We want to start here, sew all the way around all the edges, and then stop here so that we can reach through to turn it right side out. Okay, so leave a gap. And now we're going to sew starting, and your gap needs to be like, if this is the project, your gap needs to be in like the bottom third. You don't want it to be right in the middle. Put it along the bottom third of your long edge. Okay, I'm gonna move my pins. And I'm gonna come over here and we're gonna sew some more. So I'm starting underneath that pin. And actually I'm gonna flip it over so I can see a little bit better on this side. So I'm starting underneath that gap and I'm going to stitch all the way around. So it's going to get loud for a second. I'm going to start with a back stitch. Now I'm just going to go ahead and keep stitching. Okay, once I get to the corner, and if you want to, if you're not sure if you're getting through all 3 layers, you can always pull back to check. I'm definitely getting through all 3 layers here. I have a little bit of an overhang on some of mine. Needle down, feet up, turn your fabric, and then keep on sewing. Now, if you're a beginner to your sewing machine, you never want to force your fabric through your needle. You have feed dogs, which are the plates that come up and grab the fabric and move it backwards as you're sewing. Your machine should do that naturally. If you are pulling or pushing or forcing, that can lead to some stitches being longer than others, and it will just look kind of funny when it's finished. And also it could cause some issues with jamming. So go ahead and just guide it through, but you don't want to be forcing it through. Okay, so I'm turning again. And when you are sewing, you want to keep it about 1/4 inch from the edge when you are stitching along. So on my foot that I have here, there is a special metal piece on the side that shows me where that marking is to keep the needle 1/4 inch away from my edge. Your machine, I'm going to turn this off. Your machine right here might have some markings like grooves in the metal that show you different measurements. You might use 1/4 inch for home decor projects, but you might use 5/8 inch for wearable pieces, depending on how thick you want those seams. So keep that in mind. You can also put some tape down. I know another sewer had mentioned that that's what she does. Put some washi tape to measure that line.
Rachel, what kind of foot are you using? Is it anything special or is it a standard foot?
This foot came with my machine. There are standard feet that I normally use. This one I switched to recently, and I cannot remember if it's called like a 1/4 inch foot, but it is specifically for like when you're quilting and you want to make sure everything is really precise so all your corners will match up. But generally I just sew with the presser foot that came with my machine. There are a variety that you can purchase if you get more into sewing. There's depending on the project. But for simple basic projects, the one that came with your machine is going to work really well. Okay, we are almost done. I'm going to turn this corner and then we are going to get to the stopping point to make sure we have our gap in our fabric. Remember, we want to make sure it's like a hand width hole. My back stitch to stop. So again, you always need to make sure your needle is in the up position. Don't try to pull your fabric out and then it's stuck because that will bend your needle. So you can, some machines, you pull it out and you kind of like hook it over something to cut those threads. I have to use scissors. Okay. Take all your straight pins out so you don't stab yourself. There are really cute little magnetic trays that you can keep on your sewing space to put all your pins in so they don't roll off on your floor. I just keep them in my little tray that they came in. But those are really handy. Trim off any other random threads that you have. And then I'm going to switch over to the other camera real quick so that we can see. Okay, just kidding. I think my camera wants to turn off every now and then. We are going to trim off the corners. So getting rid of some of this extra fabric by trimming off your corner. It's going to be just a tiny little piece. Do not cut your stitch line or you will start to cuss. This gets rid of some of the bulk. And when we turn this right side out, that will give you nice points. So cut all of your corners off. And when I say get as close as you want to the stitch line, I'm talking like the tip, like the width of the tip of this. I don't even know how tiny that is. We're talking millimeters. Just don't cut your stitches. I'm going to cut this one off and also this one. And turn this back on so that we can switch cameras again. And then you might want to clean up any overhang. Camera's coming. Here we go. Okay, so you can see from where my stitch line is here, and pardon the lag, sometimes my camera will warm up here in a second. We're going to use our rotary cutter again and acrylic ruler to just clean up any extra overhang that we might have. Again, you want to make sure that you are not cutting too close to your stitches and you want these to be even. Oh, there we go. So that's getting some of that extra bulk out of the way there. And then down here. So now I have a really nice line. You can see where my corners got cut off, kind of close to the edge. Let's see. Turn off the rest of this. Get me living on the edge. I'm doing this for time, just real quick for class to get that extra off. Okay, now we are going to find the gap. And you want to open it up between fabric A and fabric B. Okay, stick your hand in there, grab one of the corner sections, poke that corner down, and pull it through. Now, if you have a pencil with a pretty good eraser on it, or if you have a crochet hook handy, once we get this pulled all the way out, you're going to stick that back inside to where your corners are and poke those corners out so that they are nice and sharp looking, but we don't want to use scissors for that because you might poke a hole through your fabric. Okay, so now you can see my corners kind of lumpy. It's not very pointy at either end. So you want to get something, here's my pencil. You're going to go back up through your gap and you're just gently going to poke that corner so that it pushes back out. And then go to the next one. So your corners are looking better now, okay? Do that to all four. Push down along the seam line right here. If your iron is not already hot and ready, you might want to turn that on real quick. If you push down on these seams, that kind of preps it a little bit before you get to the iron. Push down all the way. So now we have kind of like what looks like one giant rice bag. So technically, if you wanted to fill this up with rice, use it as a heating pad, you have another project you can work on. Get these other corners. Okay, so pretend I've got all my corners done. Now, iron along the whole thing so that your edges are nice and pressed. But where your opening is right here, that gap, you want to make sure that you fold that under, and then also your batting and the fabric on the bottom. You want to fold all of that inside the gap and then pin it. Either before or after you've ironed, whichever feels easier. Let me see. You need to pin that in place. Stick your straight pin down real close to the edge. I'm going to do 2 of them. Mostly you need to get that bottom fabric that's underneath and wrapping around the batting. That needs to make sure that it's really good and in there, okay? We aren't gonna sew this shut yet because we have another step next. So once you've ironed all of this, and again, be careful when you get to your Velcro, because if you iron on your Velcro, it will melt and then you will want to cuss. So now we are going to be folding up. Do it this way. Here's the long end. This is the top, right here where the Velcro is. Fold the bottom up and place your tablet or your computer on top of this to know, like, do I need to scoot it down this much? Do I need to scoot it up this much? Now, if you scoot this part up higher, you're going to have a shorter flap. So that's why it's important to know, like, you want your tablet not to be sticking above the edge here. To keep it safe, it needs to be resting like right here. So pretend that my phone is my giant tablet. You want the edge to be like right here and the bottom to be like right there. Okay, so here is our opening. I've got it marked. We're gonna stitch. Well, first we're gonna do something else, but this will get closed when we stitch the sides down. Okay, so once you have this, fold it over. Get 3 straight pins. And on the opposite side of where your hole is, you want to pin the top part of the flap and the bottom part together at the edges. So line your edges up really good. Pin those in place, but you only want to do it down here at this bottom part. because we need the top part right here to be open so that we can stitch our Velcro on. So these pins down here are going to make sure that we keep this measurement marked and we don't have to try this out again. We've got it pinned on this side. Pin it one more time over here. You can do it in between these two or on either side. So that's going to hold this in place. Now, to find out where we should place the bottom part of our Velcro, where did I put my Velcro? There we go. This is the part with the hooks, right? So fold this to where you want it to rest. You want it to rest gently over the top right there. This is how I'm gonna keep mine. You can see right here. So now flip this part backwards. Just underneath where you have your Velcro at the top. Okay, so we've folded it down, find where we want it to be. You can even iron this top part. Flip this back. Put your other piece of Velcro underneath so that when it closes, it will attach, but don't do that right now because then you'll have to pull it off again. Okay, so then move that and you want to pin this in place. We don't want to pin it to the back side. We only want to pin it to this part right here, okay? So make sure it's centered. Pin this in place. See how it goes through? Don't poke yourself. Okay, so now you're going to stitch all the way around this Velcro, just like we did with this one. Once this Velcro is in place, I'm going to switch projects out to save a little time here. No, I already took that one off. Never mind. Okay, once this is in place, here we go. Ta-da! See, look, it's in place. I magically stitched around so fast you didn't even see. I'm really good at sewing. Okay, so that's in place. Next, the last thing to do. Well, I wanted to show you one more thing. I'm sorry, y'all. I feel like this is a really important part to show you. Okay. This part here is flappy. So when you stick it under your machine, we're going to switch cameras so that you can see. We didn't stitch this top part down because we want to be able to get it under our machine. So now this is kind of what it's going to look like under your machine. It's still pinned together here. So blah, 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 stitch your Velcro on. Yay, we did that. So good. You guys are so good. Okay, now you're going to go ahead and pin here and here at the top parts, okay? And then we're going to move on. Ta-da! Switch back over to camera 1, camera 2, camera 1, camera 2. Here we go. You're going to stitch from the very top right here all the way down to right here. You do not stitch across the bottom. I mean, you can, but you don't have to. Do a back stitch right here at the top. And you want to make sure that you are stitching, pretty close to the edge, not so close to the edge that it falls off, and not so in here that you've got like a really flappy inside here. It almost kind of makes it look like piping on the side because of the stitch line here. It adds a little extra structure, but we do want to stitch close to the edge. Also, the section, the gap that we had that I said would get closed while we're doing that is going to be like right here. You want to make sure you stitch that closed so that you don't have things coming out and flipping out on the side. Like it needs to be, everything needs to be tucked under as you're stitching down. Back stitch at the bottom down here. When you're finished with that, take out your straight pins, move to the other side. And you're gonna, to put it under your machine, you're gonna have to start down here probably, and then come all the way up to this corner. Back stitch in your corners because it's gonna be getting a lot of tension and pressure on it. So back stitching, it makes sure that's really secure. And then trim all of your threads with your handy dandy scissors, and your tablet cover is finished. And you're so smart. And you know what else you can do with this? You can put anything in here. You can put colored pencils. You can put makeup in there. You can put your favorite book in there that you don't want anybody to see that you're taking on the airplane with you. Or if you want to, if you have kids, you can make some sort of like braided strap and stitch it, the ends on each side. And then it's like a little purse. Anyways, the important thing is you learned a few things today about tricks to figure out how to attach Velcro so that it actually like snaps together. And then if your tablet wants to go inside here, if there's a lot of extra room on the sides, use your really sharp Fiskars scissors. And you can just start, pulling that seam out and knowing that it's gonna look really good, even though it takes a little extra work, and you can stitch in a little bit further if you want a snug fit. If your tablet is not going in because it's too big by like 1/4 of an inch, say a little prayer, and then you can rip your seam out and make it a little bit closer to the edge. And if it's still not working, go get something to drink and come back and try with like an extra 1/2 inch. But you're gonna have to start over. So measurements are important. Take your measurements. Real quick, I hope you all enjoyed that. I'm gonna switch this up real quick. I hope you learned something. And I hope that your tablets have an extended life and less scratches because you made a cute little tablet case. Okay, so tell me all your questions.
No questions
have any
so
questions.
far, just a lot of praising you that you did a great job.
Thank you all. That means a lot to me. I was super nervous this morning, but go forth with confidence, right? Can you show the first measurement? Did I see something real quick?
Hey, can you show the first measurements one more time?
Yes.
And I'll also drop in her blog post again, so everyone has that.
Yes, I'm gonna switch cameras again. So whatever your tablet, if you're using it for your phone or your laptop, whatever, you wanna measure the exact size of what's going in this case. So if your tablet has a hard case on it, like the slim kind, not like the big foamy kind that kids might use, because that's a whole nother ballgame. But the thinner kinds, the hard protected that folds over, measure that. So if I have my phone here, I'm gonna stick it here, and I've got 3 by 6. And if it's just a smidgen off, just round up. 3 by 6 is my measurement. For my tablet, it's 7 by 10. Okay, so pretend I've measured my tablet, and then you want to add 1.5 inches to the width. Now in my blog post, I do share, if you have a slim case, you've measured against that, you don't want to add 1.5 inches. You might want to smidge up a little bit because it is higher. Like there's going to be height to it that you need to add in. So in the blog post, it will share if you're measuring it with your case on, 3 inches instead of 1.5 inches to the width. You're going to double the length, and you're going to add 5.5 more to the length measurement. If you have a hard case on, I think I have add 7 more to the length measurement. So if my tablet size is 7 by 10, my new fabric size measurement is 8.5 by 25.5. And again, all of this was hard. It was quick and it was fast, and you guys did great. But if you weren't ready to jump in, the blog post that is going to be shared will give you all of those instructions again, or you can just watch this video through. I think it's going to be ready tomorrow. So, and I expect that you make at least one for a friend, maybe, or maybe just tag us in the one that you made, and any other sewing skills you require. Just keep going. It's really fun. You're going to mess up, and you might cut your finger once or twice, but be careful. It's really fun though. I take so much joy out of sewing, and I've used Fiskars for over 10 years earlier. It's really easy for me to talk about their products because they really do make sewing easier. And Michael's earlier and grab stuff. So this This is brought to you by Michaels and Fiskars because they are companies I actually use, and it was really easy. If we don't have any more questions, thank you all for showing up. I really appreciate your time and for hanging out.